Greetings there, fellow bakers. Rhadamant here. Thank you for tuning in to Vintage Story, episode 66, Baked Bread.
The area around the oak trees had the bear. Good call. That's far away, but I'll head that way. Actually, I have the oak tree saved and already pre-pinned. So westward ho. Hello, Rift. I don't, however, have any horsetail poultices. So if I'm gonna go bear hunting, let's have a little healing on hand. Seems prudent. I'm curious if you guys would have voted for this had you known it would take me so long to get the fat needed to mechanize a corn. Ooh, there's still blueberry. One single blueberry. Oh no, there's a few. Stop throwing stuff at me. Jerks. Fatten up the wild sheep before killing them. At that point, you're basically doing animal domestication without really any of the benefits of milk. So I would do that if I was domesticating them, but I'm not going to fatten up wild creatures hoping that I happen upon them again. Because I don't think that the game is quite that persistent. Meaning, like, if I fatten up a random wild creature and then come back to it, it's not necessarily going to be the same wild creature. It could just be a different one, or the one that I fattened up got killed by wolves, or wandered away and then died in a pit somewhere, or respawned, or, you know. So, like, trying to fatten the critters around you up only really works if you trap them. And if you're trapping them, you're domesticating them, more or less. If they're a non-juvenile pair, male and female. So I'm happy to do it, to domesticate sheep if it's voted on. And it's one of the reasons why I've been leaving all the sheep closest to the base alone, so that I could domesticate them more easily. And maybe that gets voted on at some point. I have the horsetail, I don't have the cat. Come on, cattail, where are you? Give me heals. I like how this cattail is just like in an ice block. Gotta cut it free first. So if Fingface is correct, I am heading in towards bear country and should be getting some hunting opportunities soon. We have a lot of healing to pair with that. And then I do have an axe, and a whole lot of sticks, and a knife, so if I need to cook a fire or whatever, shouldn't be too much effort. Oh. I was like, oh, I hear something. No, it's just drifters. I'm curious if you guys know the answer to this. I see that drifters have a weight. Does that affect their drop table? Because certainly they don't ever drop anything like fat or whatever. So, oh god, there's so many. Why is there always rifts around these oaks? So do the drifter weight matter at all? Because as far as I can tell, it does not matter. Like, whether they're well-fed or not has no bearing on anything. It's just a weird vestigial part of the code that hasn't been removed specifically for drifters. You know what they should... Oh, jeez. Hello, lake. You know what they should have is they should have, like, because you can lure herbivores with, like, you know, troughs and traps, but they need meat lures to lure predators. Sure, it exists in mods, but that would be nice to have. Hello, fishy fishy. Have bears been eating your spawn, your brethren? As if so, I'll help you out and kill the bears. Just point them out to me. You know what's gonna happen is the bear is gonna, like, absolutely wambush me from nowhere. Or I'll fall in a really horrible pit and die. I feel like this terrain is conducive to horrible pits that I fall into and die. You can trap foxes with poultry-based traps. Yeah, but I'm more talking about, like, wolves and bears. I don't think you get a lot of animal fat off foxes. I mean, I guess if you have, like, a really hyper-productive, like, goat, deer, or sheep farm, you can get a lot of animal fat slaughtering your own fat animals. But that takes a huge amount of investment to breed to the point where that's useful. And the amount of time it takes to get to that point probably means that, like, you don't need the animal fat for a lot of mechanization. To put it in perspective, to get enough generations where you're, like, slaughtering cattle, let's call it, or you know, farm animals, it would take, like, a few in-game years. And in a few in-game years, if you don't already have, like, a windmill and, like, a good setup for a windmill, you're probably doing something wrong. That's, or at least I'll put it this way, that's not the typical progression route that the usual player will take. Maybe you're not doing something wrong, but you're doing something different. You're deviating from the typical progress path. Well, I can't for the life of me find any more animals, which is annoying. At least ones that I think are fat enough worth killing. Come on, wolves. You fought me before. Just come back. Pretty crummy resources there. All I'm really hearing is chicken. They're really hard to kill, like on foot. But at this point, I'm desperate, so. So I was gonna be like, how are these not connecting? You bastards! Chasing chickens reminds me of Fable. Who knows what I'm talking about? Really? Not even meat on you? Sheesh. Throwing out my poultry. Haven't thought of Fable in a while. That was a fun game when it came out. Well, that bear... I'll do one more pass through the woods. I have no more... Oh! Hello! So, it found me. Come back. I'm not done killing you. It's low weight, which is unfortunate. Maybe I get lucky. One. Alright, I'm gonna start moving home. My dude's cold. It's -7. I guess that's roughly around my threshold. And see about mechanizing the corn. See how far I get doing it. Hopefully I won't have to cannibalize any of the health hammer setup. I'll just make a point not to cannibalize it. Leave it as is. Hello, little base. Did you miss me? It is so cold in this cellar. It's not a good place to be when you're cold. Believe it or not. So 5 animal fats. Got a little bit more flax too. More oak. I'm just gonna light a fire just to, like, warm up. And then we have some more small hides for parchment. I'll need some of those sticks. Also need some raw wood, won't I? So I'll need to go cut down some trees. So let's start making some additional axles. So a log, lump of fat, chisel, and hammer. I don't have the log. I need to fix that part of the equation. We also have some flax to harvest, so I'm sure there is a sale's worth left in the farm, but I won't get off task. There was a pine back here that I grew. There it is. Parchments are for if I have like labeled storage rooms in the future. So one more. Should have enough. Alright, that goes all the way down, and then angled here. 2 sticks, saw, resin. We need a 1 thing of resin, and then pick up our saw. We'll only need 2. I think maybe yes. One is enough? Oh yeah, 1's enough. Okay. Swanky. Well, I don't have much time left, so you guys, if you want me to do more kitchen stuff, you can vote for it. But this is just for whatever remaining time there is. I'm going to do a very small batch of bread. A micro batch. Azure Storm, thank you for the resub. Welcome, welcome. So for that, I want some firewood. Let's get some spelt grain. And now, as you can see, the quern here is mechanized. So I stick things in, and they get ground up for me automatically. I don't have a hopper for this, but I suppose that's fine. So I'm sticking firewood into the clay oven to heat up the clay oven so the clay oven becomes hot. And then we can put spelt flour, we can put bread into it. So I am making some spelt bread. This stuff. And we... Does it even show the rest of it? Yeah, here we go. So we had a bucket of water, and spelt flour makes spelt dough. So I'm making some dough now. I'll do 4. But yeah, we can leave this quern just like grinding all the time. I also had mentioned if we wanted to fertilize some of the terra preta, I can stick bones in there and grind them up too. Hey, bud. So here's the spelt flour. And as you can see, it has the same parish timing as the grain. I think it inherits the same amount. So if you have grain that's about to spoil and you grind it up, it's flour that's about to spoil. It doesn't, like, benefit from processing like some games do. So like RimWorld, for instance, if you have like meat that's about to spoil and you cook it, it gets refreshed. But here, I don't believe that's true. So now this clay oven is nice and hot. Also, I put my flour away. I didn't mean to do that. I'll want some sort of permanent, what am I doing here? Permanent water source near here. And there we go. Spelt dough in the clay oven. heating up. And there are different stages of the cooking. So there is... And let me go back to the guide here. Dough, you can have part baked, you can have regular baked, or you can have charred. And they have different perish timers. So for instance, charred bread is fresh for 17.5 days at a and it fulfills 210 satiety. The regular bread is fresh for 8 days. So it's fresh for just all over half, but it satiates you more. So you can purposefully burn your bread, essentially, to have it last longer, but fulfill you, satiate you less. Or you can have part. Let me do the part too. So the part baked is the worst of the two. Or three. Where it's spoils quick and doesn't satiate much. And you guys want me to work on storage room. So ideally, I want to move like all of this stuff into the storage. The other thing is I had thought about drifter proofing this room. No, that's not how to skin you. So I'll probably want to drifter proof it. That will be my last little project here. Let's go back to the bread baking. So now these are part baked. Berry bushes work in greenhouses. It only looks at the temperature. Cool. I did not know that. So let's go take a look at our little berry bush here. It's not warm enough to flower. But it is. It was at 9 days. Now it's at 8 days. So yeah, we could have a bush greenhouse, I guess. That would make sense to do in a tree greenhouse. So have a specific greenhouse dedicated towards fruit trees and berry bushes, I think, for like a fruiting greenhouse. There's probably a term for it. And I charred it. I was not paying attention. But there we go. First batch of bread. Nice charred bread. Almost charcoaly. And then I can throw it in here and it's fresh for 3.2 years. So, yeah. Now, I do have a question for you guys. Arboretum? Well, but I also mean like berry bushes. But that aside, should I set up storage in the cellar or the main hall? So what I'm asking here is, you guys want me to work on the storage room? I can set chests up for storage along here, probably ignoring the slab windows, and have lines of chests from floor to ceiling here, which would cover for most of my needs. For like most of what I need to do, it would work. You know, to have one for, mechanics, and one for quartz, and one for stone, or a few for stone, so on and so forth. Or should I just go full on, everything goes in the cellar, and have plenty of space in the cellar for, like, everything that I'll ever need to store? And whatever the case is, I am going to dig the cellar out one more deep, and then slab it so that it is a drifter-proof area. Whatever the answer is that you guys happen upon. So, one of the questions, because I see you in chat, one of the questions I've always had about the game is if fire actually heats a room. I think it's weirder than that. I don't know what the heating code looks like, but what I can tell you is, like, if I set a fire in my leatherworking room, which is an enclosed space that has a fire pit, the food perish timer is 0.1, right? Or I set a fire here. The food perish time won't change. It's as if my body temperature goes up, but the room doesn't get warmer, which is strange. So that's one of the things I don't understand. Maybe you guys have more insight. As you can see, it's now a lit room, but it doesn't heat the room. So my incomplete understanding, but my understanding is that that the only way to heat a room ambient temperature is a greenhouse. Fire pits don't work. They work to heat you in a radiant or in a sphere of influence, but not the room itself. I don't know of a way to heat the room itself other than a greenhouse. The greenhouse is the only way I know how. I could be wrong, but that's one thing I've noticed anecdotally, is that there's no way to, like, heat a room, which is unfortunate. Because, like, I would love to spend the fuel to keep a room warm so that I could utilize it for productivity. But as far as I know, that's not possible, which is sad face. Also, might add how nice it is that I haven't happened to... Oh, God, I'm jinxing myself. But I haven't happened upon, like, a random cavern or pit here. I mean, I think the chances of that are probably rather low. But, like, nothing has interfered this cellar so far. The cellar construction has gone stellar. A fireplace with chimneys would be very cool. Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of options, obviously. You know, producing wood pellets, using firewood, using charcoal, even using the ambient temperature of clay kilns. Because I gotta say, bang for your buck, kiln fires, given how long they burn, very efficient source of heat, right? Like, the game doesn't obviously have, like, the preservation of, like, you know, mass or it breaks some laws of thermodynamics as well. Because, like, you can add very little amounts of fuel to a pit kiln, and it burns for like 24 hours. You add that same amount of fuel to a fireplace, and it burns for like 10 minutes. You know what I mean? So, like, if you had ambient heating, you would just keep a pit kiln going all the time. It actually wouldn't be that expensive. Pit kilns are pretty cheap, and they burn for a really long time. Blue clay, huh? There was like a tiny bit of blue clay out here, wasn't there? When I was digging around, I happened upon it. You know, I just might use fire clay. Out of convenience. I have enough of it. You'll need like 8 stacks to even make steel. I have more than that. Hey, Twitchio. Yeah, it is a fun game. I'm happy to stream it. So now, in slabbing here, the light level of the cellar won't even matter when it comes to stopping drifter spawns, because none of this area will be valid once it's slabbed over. So I don't necessarily want it dark, because as a storage room, dark is not helpful to be able to see where I should put things, but stopping drifter spawns is kind of nice. It also inadvertently becomes a very nice panic room for temporal storms. Because if this is completely drifter-proof for spawn-wise, during storms, I could just come down here and hang out, and they can't do anything to me. Or I can use the stairwell and the door to funnel them in a few at a time, provided they're not like double-headed drifters that are going to just like completely obliterate me, and deal with them a few at a time. Drifters spawn. So I was under the understanding that they ignore certain rules, like light level rules during storms, but not necessarily. They still have to have valid spots. The other thing that I could have obviously do is like nerd pull. That is, you know, if there's nowhere near you that they can spawn, then they can't hurt you. So that would, of course, be the nuclear option, or to have like a panic closet where there's a certain area in your base that that is just big enough for you. I'm not really of the mind to like avoid them like that though. Okay. Bone meal. So, if I want to make some chests, that's nails and strips with some planks. I need one more plank. Oh, I didn't, phooey. Didn't even mean to make that bookshelf. But I can put my bookshelves down there too. The purpose of the cellar is I'll eventually move all the storage down there. And then I won't have to really worry about where things go. All in one universal spot. Now, some items, like the ore and coal, will remain where they are, so that it's, because it's where... How do you label chests? Oh, it's a sign. Okay, sorry. What? The parchment is for... I gotta remind myself. Blocks of those. Crates. Right. I'll still want those. Crates are really good for high volume things. But signs are actually cheaper. This is planks and sticks, not parchment. I'm out of planks. Ah, it's a resin tree. Not cutting you down. How many temple gears should you actually hold on to? It depends if you have... Okay, this spoils things a little bit, because I haven't found any, but it depends on how many teleporters that you have. So temple gears, again, spoiler. Temple gears are used to fuel rift blockers, rift wards, where you can build a rift ward and prevent new rifts from being around you. Not super useful if you have like a safe base, but they can also be used to fuel teleporters. So if you rely upon a teleporting network, you should probably hold on to them. If you don't have a teleporting network, it's probably not that big of a deal. Like a few to reset spawn locations, maybe to regain sanity if you have like a critical sanity moment, but like not super important that you hold on to like a horde of them. And it sounds like you have a horde of them, so one of those situations where, yeah, you could probably do without. Alright, so... how are we going to lay out the storage here? I was thinking of just like floating chests. It looks a little weird, but it will be spawn safe. Actually, the chest can actually go, because things won't spawn on top of a chest anyway, they could go on a solid block and still not be spawned upon. And then it won't look so weird. So that's the plan, is to lay them out like that. Maybe not right next to the door, though. Give it a little bit of space. It's like a... And then the... Maybe I'll have my bookshelves like right at the door. That doesn't look terrible. To have labeled chests along the walls, and maybe eventually into like rows and columns. It's a big room. I'm not going to run out of space immediately. So, let's say seeds, and we'll move the seeds out of the farm. And mechanisms? I don't really know. Something like that. Slowly sorting things out. I don't have a lot of mechanisms right now. But I'll be moving the... Let's get the gems moved as well. And just putting everything down here. The storage cellar was never meant to have these crates anyway. I just didn't have a storage room up until now. I guess quartz and clear quartz I've been putting into gems. Oh, I used up my charcoal. Wood things. Maybe plant matter box, you know, eventually the kind of boxes for every subset of things that I have. We'll do the clay now. I have a lot of unfired bricks. And then as the polls vote for me to work further on it, I can do more of this sort of storage. I feel like instead of seeds, let's see what we have, because I can keep the seeds where they are. See what we have a lot of here. Storage crates? Baskets and chests? Because I can start to clean those up, because I have a lot of random reed chests and baskets everywhere. These chests can be used for future traps. And I can also merge clay and soil together. There's room. Nothing like a storage box full of storage. And it's not too pricey to make chests. It's actually quite cheap. I just need to do some smithing for the nails and scraps for more of them. So it's a pretty easy project to do in mass. Let's also get that bookcase, because I already have one bookcase. Get that moved down. Someday, we will have our bookcases nice and full of beautiful books, maybe. And I'll read them to you in a story time. Oh lord, that got dark. I'm mostly just using the front half of the room so far, so I'm just going to illuminate the front half. I don't care about the dark. Well, those corners are kind of dark. Let's do here, where I prioritize the storage half of the room. Have I found zinc? I know where zinc is for the torch holders. That'd be another way to illuminate the room. But, yeah, we can continue to organize and store things down there once we have the more materials for that. So, looks good. Let's wrap this up. That isn't counting down. I think it's probably still too cold in there to accommodate berry bushes. So, yeah, it seems like you can get maybe like a week out of putting them, putting berry bushes in your greenhouses, but eventually it does seem to get too cold for them anyway. Torch holders would look really cool. That could be a future project, is to go to the zinc hit that I found. Actually, I know where some surface zinc is. It's northeast of me. Up here somewhere? I had marked it down. I found surface zinc around here somewhere. Yeah, a good future project for a bunch of torch holders. Make it look crypt and medieval. But a start of a storage room. Very modest. These spots here are valid spawn points. Technically. That I can block with reed chests. Yes. Ingenuity. Now, nothing can spawn down here. So one last little snack. I'll have another sad loaf of bread that I burned. Good job, me. Actually, I have a few. Nom nom. And that, my friends, just about wraps up this stream. Thank you for tuning in to Vintage Story, which originally streamed live on Twitch January 11th. If you have any feedback or questions for me, let me know in the comments below. If you'd like to catch a live stream of mine, Rhadamant.com has my stream schedule and countdown timers to upcoming streams. If you would like to join my online gaming community on Discord, Rhadamant.com has a link to it, as does the description of this video. Thank you so very much for watching, and a special thank you to my Patreon patrons, Twitch subscribers, and viewers like you that support the channel and made it all the way to the credits. Thank you so very much. Hope to catch ya next episode or an upcoming stream. Farewell, my fellow Seraphs.